After 15 months in charge and with Birmingham 6th in the current championship table, John Eustace has been sacked as their manager. We don't call the October international break a managerial graveyard for nothing. We haven't even reached 11 a.m. on day one and the axe has fallen on John Eustace. This is going to be one that splits opinions simply because of Blues' current league position. So let's get straight to the club statement and I'll give my opinion after. It's pretty brutal stuff, to be honest, and I quote, "It is essential that the board of directors and the football management are fully aligned on the importance of implementing a winning mentality and culture of ambition across the entire football club. With this in mind, Birmingham City has parted company with head coach John Eustace." That couldn't be clearer, could it? The higher-ups at Birmingham do not think that John Eustace is going to be able to implement a winning mentality or a culture of ambition. We'd better get into these higher-ups then at Birmingham, as this is their biggest call by far since taking over. We are talking, of course, about Knighthead Capital Management and Mr. Tom Wagner, who arrived formally in July and have been nothing but good, to be fair, so far. Strong transfer window and investment in the team. Straight onto those ground issues that the previous owners had let fester. And there was all of that lovely feel-good and razzmatazz with the visit of Tom Brady back in August. We have, though, seen this plenty with new ownerships. They'll often keep the manager in charge when they acquire the club, but as we're seeing right now, they're pretty quick to bring in their own guy as and when they see fit. That makes what I'm about to say a little bit redundant, but we should, at least for a minute, talk about Blues on the pitch under John Eustace. He took over in the summer ahead of last season, with Birmingham having been circling the plug hole for ages under the previous owners. It was 20th, 18th and 20th when Eustace came in, and I thought the chaos would finally catch up, and I predicted Birmingham to go down in my pre-season 1-24 video last summer. Eustace kept them up comfortably in 17th. They were in the main organised and hard to beat, and Eustace was a very cool head in challenging circumstances. This season, after that big transfer window, it was a brilliant start in August, 10 points from 4, but that was followed by a horrible September with 2 points from 5. I would guess, and I don't know, that is when this decision was made, and the Birmingham hierarchy have stuck with that decision despite a great start to October with 2 wins from 2. All of that leaves Birmingham in a playoff spot, and this is where a lot of Blues fans are going to be thinking, I've seen this movie before, as this is exactly what previous owners Trillian did back in 2016. They purchased the club in October and sacked Gary Rowett in December, with his side in 7th spot, 3 points off 3rd position, and brought in Gianfranco Zola. So my take, for what it's worth, obviously on a human level, it's really harsh. Eustace inherited a mess last summer, and his good work meant that Knighthead were purchasing a championship club, not a League One club. This season, Birmingham haven't been perfect, but are most definitely moving in the right direction, and if the count stopped right now, they would be in the playoffs and 3 games from the Premier League. That's the human side of it, but unfortunately the people making this decision will decide things through the sporting and the business prism. I'll always respect the right of anybody who buys anything to use it how they see fit. If you want to pay me market value for my house, preferably above market value please, it's kind of up to you what colour you paint the walls after you've bought it. I would also add as well that with the Rowett and Zola PTSD that Blues fans will have, that just because somebody did something before and it went wrong doesn't mean that a different person in different circumstances shouldn't be allowed to try to do the same thing. I will then tie this all in a bow by concluding that just because somebody has the right to do something doesn't mean it's going to be the best decision in the long term either. And this is where John Eustace himself almost becomes irrelevant to the answer of that question, is it going to be the best decision in the long term? That all, of course, depends who comes in to replace him. And the statement says a new first team manager will be announced in the coming days who will be responsible for creating an identity and clear, no fear playing style that all Birmingham City teams will adopt and embrace. Again, they are not mincing their words, and a pretty direct message that the Birmingham higher-ups thought Eustace's side played with fear. Clearly, everyone thinks it's going to be Wayne Rooney coming in, but I've been doing this for far too long to get into any detail on that until I see him holding up a Birmingham shirt on the official website. If that's in a few days, click on that video then. What I'm certain about is that I think it's pretty tough on Eustace, but judging by the statement, the owners just weren't having him, were they? I'm also pretty certain that this is a high-risk call, and with the club in 6th place right now, the owners are going to look very brave and clever if they're either in 6th or one of the 5 spots above their current position, and they are going to look a bit rash, a bit silly and a bit trigger-happy if they're in one of the 18 spots lower than their current position. Would I have sacked John Eustace now? Probably not, but I am perfectly happy to acknowledge that I sit in front of this here camera talking about decisions made in football and not actually making any. There you go, that's my thoughts on John Eustace sacked by Birmingham. Welcome to the October international break, everybody. As ever, let me know what you think of my take down in the comments, or better still, give me your own take. Would you have sacked Eustace or not? And who would you like to see replacing him? Regular watchers will know that John Eustace was kind enough to give up some time to speak to us not very long ago. So click here to see what he had to say on the Championship Check-In podcast back on September the 7th.